This video's been a long time coming. Before I start, I want to clarify something. This is not like a sad story, this is not a dark video or anything like that. This is a story of how acting like an idiot as a teenager resulted in a long-term injury, but how I managed to find a silver lining and turn it into something good. It's a story about motivation and why I still love bikes. My injuries aren't too severe on the grand scheme of things, and everyone has their own unique story. So I'm not suggesting that bikes can solve everything for everyone, but I hope this video can inspire somebody who needs some motivation to get back on their bike. So when I started riding bikes, I found out that they're a wonderful way of escaping the rules and regulations I faced in life. I was so naive that I almost immediately presumed myself a bicycle mechanic and started collecting old scrap bikes to fix and sell. When I was 16, my passion for bikes took a more serious turn when I started working at a local bike shop. And by that time, I had discovered the joys of BMX bikes, and I'd become relatively serious about riding them. So launching myself down a set of 10 stairs was completely normal, and just landing hard on the flat ground at the bottom, it was just normal to me. In fact, I was so blinded by inexperience that a truly terrifying step down at a set of local jumps didn't even scare me. Back at the jumps that I broke my arms on when I was way younger, it's actually visible now. So hopefully I can illustrate exactly how big this is and how stupid I was. Have you ever noticed nothing looks as steep on camera as it does in real life? Same's true here. This is actually pretty steep. There's this bump here. It's kind of hard to illustrate how deep it is, but you know, it comes up to about here on the stick where the ground is. So that's a pretty big bump. I fell from here all the way down there. Don't be dumb. Don't do bike stuff that's beyond your comfort level. I mean, push your comfort level a little, but like, when you know it's dangerous, don't do it. I rode it all the time on my BMX bike, and challenged mountain bikers to do the same. And when I was 18, I brought a coworker with me. He had a full suspension mountain bike that he had just built up, and when he saw me do the drop on the BMX, he was like, okay, now do it on a real bike. Foolish young me assumed it would be exactly the same on a big bike as a small bike, and I slowly pedaled over the edge and fell over the bars and lawn darted straight down, broke both my arms, and my face hit too, because genius me wasn't wearing a helmet.
Oh my god, dude!
I know I've said this in a few videos so far, but wear helmets, come on. So I have some brief flashes of memory, waking up like on the ground, realizing my arms are broken, being in the ambulance, and other than that, not a ton until after the surgery, and I was told my arms were being held together by screws and plates, and my face looked like Two-Face from Batman. So the healing process was really slow, but it was successful, and then there was one other night when luck didn't seem to like me. So a couple weeks after being cleared to return to work, I decided to ride my longboard one night instead of my bike just to avoid road vibrations. So after work, I met up with my buddy Jonathan and we were longboarding around. I made the decision to ride the longboard at night with no lights. Again, genius move, right? So the pickup truck driver who cut me off really can't be blamed because he probably didn't even see me at all. And he never actually hit me, so he probably never even knew I fell. He just drove off. But I stopped up short just because I was worried about him hitting me, and I was going way too fast. So I was left with two choices: tuck and roll, or try and stop short. I had glass in my bag. So I tried to stop short. Again, genius me, right? Of course, I was going so fast when I hit the ground, I put my arms out to stop myself, and when I looked at my arm, it was that funky new shape. And of course, the next genius thing I did, instead of going and getting it looked at, I went home, put on a long sleeve so no one would see it, and went back out longboarding for the rest of the night. That was years ago, and my arm is still the exact same shape. Nothing's changed. It healed like that. So the radius kind of bends upwards in the middle, and then the ulna kind of bends downwards, and then like up at the wrist, and it's in a sorry state, and the wrist is almost permanently dislocated. Somehow, because the human body has an amazing ability to heal itself, I've actually got the full range of motion going on again. Like, it works like normal. And it's not so bad, but there is a bit of chronic pain. You hear the old cliche about, the old man sitting on the porch and you feel a storm brewing in his old rusty joints? That's me. That is 100% me. So yes, there is some arthritis going on. I know it's going to be really bad when I'm older. When I got home from the hospital in the first place, they gave me a bottle of T4s plus codeine, I think it was. I think I took one or two, but they made me feel so numb and stupid that I just never bothered. So I actually found the bottle years later and was like, oh, I guess I didn't take these. So aside from the occasional herbal remedy, I don't take anything for the pain. Well, I could get the arm fixed, but that would involve removing all of the current hardware that's in there right now, immobilizing the arm until it heals up enough to put new hardware in, and then starting the whole healing process from scratch, which I'm in the middle of my 20s. I don't want to do that right now. I know it's inevitable. I'm going to have to at some point, but I kind of want to wait until my life is financially stable enough to take a year off and heal up properly. Ironically, there's only one thing that really helps with both the physical pain and the guilt of ruining my body through stupidity, and that's riding bikes. And yeah, they're the exact thing that put me in this mess in the first place. There's two reasons behind it. The first is the physical benefits. I'm not just talking about fitness here. Well, I kind of am, but fitness is a byproduct, not the end goal. When I ride a bike, the first thing that hits me is just how well the bike's set up, what the bike feels like, how smoothly it accelerates, how well it corners, all that. That's always the first few minutes of the ride. I'm just consumed with examining the bike. Next comes a period of slight discomfort. Now, it's kind of the same for any kind of sport or activity that involves cardio, but I notice it a lot in my wrist right away. That does go away pretty quickly too, though. After about 10 minutes, the ride starts to take effect, and all the body's natural feel-good chemicals start to hit. I just kind of zone out from my arm, and all I can think about is the ride, and just enjoy the experience, And on top of just the thrills of a good bike ride is the adrenaline rush from doing some of the more extreme stuff. Obviously, I can't even try the tricks that I used to try. Like bar spins, tail whips, big no-handers, that's, no, not anymore. In the real world, the tricks I do are simple and more focused on smoothness. My favorite thing to do with a bike is on a nicely shaped quarter pipe, just laying the bike flat and on a nice high transfer and just feeling the G-forces, especially with a nice smooth landing at the bottom. Can't beat it. The second reason I'm still into bikes is overcoming adversity. Bicycles were supposed to be an escape from school, from social drama, from road rules, from housework, from everything. I trusted them to bring me some kind of enlightenment, and they threw me under the bus or over the bars, as the case may be. The lasting arm injury prevents me from overcoming the specific challenges that I used to dream of taking on. I have to accept I really no longer have a chance of being a professional BMX rider. The only way to beat the bikes at their own game is to change my perspective on cycling. The goal is no longer to learn all the tricks or reach a certain level of ability while riding. The goal is now to enjoy bikes to their fullest extent. And that means I no longer enjoy BMX exclusively. The fact that now I'll play with mountain bikes and hybrids and vintage bikes and fixies and any other kind of bike, it's opened up the doors to a lot more opportunities in the bike world, a lot more learning opportunities especially, and that broader focus lets me perform a lot better at the bike shop. Yes, I still work at that same bike shop, and now it's almost like I'm starting to build kind of like a bicycle encyclopedia in my head. It's really cool, that feeling of growing that. The other thing is now I actually care about, the single mom who needs a bike to get to work, or the kid who has a disability and rides a recumbent tricycle to cope, partially because I identify with them a little bit more, but more because now I understand how personal cycling is. Cycling is not just a sport to them, and they actually need their bikes to maintain their lifestyle, and cycling holds a very different significance to them than it does to me. So I want them to have the best bike possible, and the way I do that is I do mind-numbing amounts of research on bikes and experiments with bikes just to perfect my craft. So while I still struggle with the reality of having a permanent injury, and I never got my enlightenment, at least I found some small eureka in that opening up my mind to the wild diversity of the bike world could lead to beating my problems. I fight my demons not only by making bikes better for myself, but by trying to make bikes better and more accessible for absolutely everybody.